one of the things I've been doing is trying to root elder cuttings. Some of them I've just gone around and stuck in the ground, and we'll see how they do. But I think we have something going on with these ones, which I put in a pot along with some other things which probably aren't doing so well. I'm just going to open this up and let's see. These have been in here about 3 weeks now. Out of the pot and check that out. Look at all those roots. I think what I'm going to do is just separate them out and honestly just go and plant them in the ground, because it's only September. There's going to be rain, plenty of rain. There's still plenty of time for them to get established, and I think they'll be just fine. So I'm going to just try and separate them out first, and then take them down to the slash border I've made to get them planted out in there. Actually, before we go down there, let's just have a look. So these are 3 elder cuttings. Look at that. There's even a shoot coming out there. And this is elder, and this is elder. Lots of nice roots there. And just to show you this is some other stuff. So these are elder. These are some other stuff I had planted in there, which I didn't really expect to do so well, and they haven't. They haven't done very well. This was black locust. Honestly, I don't know. I'll put all these back in, and maybe something will take root. It might just take longer. These don't look like these are. That's called Rose of Sharon. It's a really common bush around here. It's just a flowering bush, but it doesn't seem to want to propagate like that very well. And this fella, I can't remember what that's called now, but there might still be some hope for that. I'll put those back in. But these are going straight in the ground. One more thing. Around this very messy area around the side of the house that I wanted to show you. I showed a Williams pear that's unfortunately died. I bought it bare root, planted it last winter, and it just dried up this terribly hot, dry summer. But when I was in the garden centre, when they sold it to me, they snipped off the top of it, as you do, to kind of reduce the height and get it help it establish more easily. And I said to them, "Oh, let me have those cuttings, will you?" And I brought them back, and that was, I'm going to say, December last year, or maybe January this year. And I got those 3. I cut it into 3 pieces. The pear branch or whatever, cutting, whatever you want to call it, and I just stuck it in some sand. So that's that. We're talking like 9 or 10 months. It's been in there. It was all, to me, obviously dead. It didn't do anything. I just thought, well, let's just try it, And been there all summer. It did stay kind of wet, just because of all this water around here. There's a tap here and stuff. And unbelievably, September, and suddenly there's something sprouting out of this pear cutting, planted in the ground end of last year, middle of winter, done nothing all winter, all summer, looked dead as a doornail, and suddenly there's life in it. It shows you what a hit and miss kind of affair cuttings are, and how you have to hedge your bets and just do lots of stuff and kind of see what actually sticks to the wall, when you throw it. So I'll have to see what I'm going to do with that, because it's obviously not on the rootstock it was on. It's growing from its own roots. So who knows what it will grow into, but the actual fruit ought to be true to the Williams pear. So maybe some grafting gurus can help me with that. Am I right about that? That I should get Williams pear out of this, but possibly on a much bigger, on its own rootstock it might grow huge or something. Well, we'll see. So here we are down at these trash berms, or whatever you want to call them, that I've shown in previous videos, where I'm just piling organic material to create a kind of environment that's conducive to fungal dominated woodland kind of growth. And I want to get elder and other things growing along this border. And thanks everybody for the comments. Some people said that what I was doing had some similarities to what's called syntropic farming. Now, I haven't looked into that enough, and I need to. As I understand it, syntropic farming does do something along these lines, but on contour. Am I right about that? These kind of borders are usually done on contour, and which would be helpful on this hill, because the experts, I think I specifically saw Jeff Lawton talking about that, say that on a steep hill like this you don't want swales. You don't want swales, you want trash borders like I'm doing, but on contour, to slow the descent of the water, to get it soaking into the soil, etc. So that's definitely something I'm going to think about. But the idea behind this thing was to actually make a border around this kind of food forest area. So that's mainly what I'm going for here. And I've already poked some things into here, and to be honest, I can't find any of them now, but I've definitely stuck some elder in here already, and some pieces of black locust root in the previous video, which, by the way, I'm not super confident about, because I've tried some in pots as well. I don't think this is the right time of year for it. I think I should wait till the dormant period before I plant black locust root cuttings. But anyway, I'm going to just stick some of these elder cuttings in here, and hope they do just as well in this area as they were doing in the pots, and will grow into nice big elder bushes next year. And look, there's a wild rose popping up in here already. They'll grow just about anywhere as well, so I think we'll leave that. So here are my elder cuttings, rooted elder cuttings. Found a few more actually that I had in another pot. So I'm really not going to be super scientific about this. I've dug a little hole, just separated this out a bit, and I'm just going to dump native soil on top of that, because I mean, I could put compost or something, but well, you know what, yeah, maybe I will put compost on there just to give them a little bit of a head start. Just grabbing some hillside garden compost and just giving it a bit of a like a sift. Oh, missed most of it, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of junk in there, and I'd rather have some quite nice, you know, fine stuff like that. I know it doesn't really matter too much, but there's even like stones and quite big bones and things in there, so I'll either chuck that out or recycle it back into the first bay, which is still full and hopefully ticking over. Yeah, doing quite well. Look at that, 30, just over 30 Celsius, which is a decent temperature, though it's not hot. This whole thing needs turning over into this one, but first I have to turn this one over into this one, and this one's got pumpkins trying to grow in it, which was a great plan until you get to this time of year and you need the compost bay, and you can't because there are pumpkins. However, I don't think there's time for these pumpkins to do anything now. They had such a slow start because of the hot weather, and you know, although we do have potentially another couple of months before the end of before the first frost, I'm not really confident they're going to make it. So maybe I'll just dump the compost on there, and yeah, maybe they'll survive, because they don't mind being buried up to the stalk. It's just a case of whether the compost is truly finished yet or not, because if it's not, then it will probably, you know, burn the pumpkin, as they say. Anyway, back to the compost and back to the elder cuttings. Oh, and just before we get back to the elder cuttings, check this out. I was talking about the Williams pear earlier, and the cutting that's sprouted after 10 months of complete and utter neglect. Well, check this out. This is the one that the Williams pear that died, right? And look at the bottom. I don't believe this. It's actually sprouting. There's something alive in there as well. Now, that's amazing. However, you will note that it's below the graft, so that's the rootstock popping up. The rootstock's still alive, and probably the graft scion is no longer with us, although I know this bit looks dead, but I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till spring and just see, but it gives me an idea to possibly that living cutting that I do have, to graft it back on to this one, which is kind of silly, but would that work? Again, grafting experts, please let me know. But anyway, let's get back to the elder cuttings. So that's in its little hole, and what I'm actually going to do is just put some native soil on immediately in contact with the roots, and then get the compost on top, because I'm not like 100% confident that the compost is finished. I don't want it competing with the cutting for nutrients. So maybe if I put it on top like that, it'll finish, it'll wash down into the roots, and it'll be all good. So there we go. There's another nice green cutting. Well, I hope it makes it. I'm not so sure about the ones I've stuck in, because I can't see any of them now because I don't mark these things. I guess the plan was to just wait till spring and see what popped up, but I think this is a bit of a safer bet, and I'm now off camera going to pop the rest of these in, and I feel like this is a safer way of doing it. But it's just to show you how suitable elder is really for for growing hardwood cuttings from hardwood or semi-hardwood cuttings. The other things aren't so easy to do. Elder, as far as I know, you can just stick in the ground from a hardwood cutting in winter, dormant hardwood cutting, and it will sprout in spring, and I have done it that way. But it seems to need more babying, and the ones that I did like that last year, unfortunately, though they did put out shoots in spring, they died off in the very hot summer. So this way I'm hoping they'll get a head start in autumn and over winter. Let's see. So we've got that one done. There's a hazel it's doing okay. It doesn't look great right now, but it's actually fine. That was like a root sucker cutting, which worked out. I'm glad about that. Now here's another elder, and working my way along is another elder. So that's a few this side, and all snug in our border here. Of course, this looks kind of ugly now, these branches, but my plan is for them just to be not visible within a couple of years. So let's go to the other side and just stick some in there as well. I thought I'd just show this one. See, look, this one's got actually rooted from both the bottom here and from the first node, and that node is where we have this new growth coming from. So I'm actually going to kind of try and plant it a little bit like on its side. Not sure exactly, something like that, to try and get those roots covered, but also the green portion above ground. And I'll do the same as I did. I'll just put some native soil on top. I'm going to water all these in as well. Must remember to do that, although it's supposed to be some rain coming up in the next few days, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. Of course, it's always a bit of a risk when you disturb something, the roots, and replant it and pull it up and basically do what I've done. But plants are more resilient than we give them credit for, and in particular, I think elder will be perfectly happy and won't mind this treatment at all, as long as we water them in. Actually, I've got the water left from this dirty old water that it was sitting in, so I'm just going to chuck it in there, and there we go. So I've got a few of those in now. I've got a few more that I stuck in here before, which I said I can't really find now, but actually I saw one just now, which is I can't find it now, of course, but it's shed its leaves. So there we go. Yeah, this one. So that's one that I stuck in before. It's lost its leaves. Hard to say if that one's going to make it. They did seem happier being grown in some nice compost in a pot. So yeah, maybe that's the direction to think about. But anyway, really keen to get this growth going. Part of the reason for this border is also because of the neighbour. Our neighbour's very neat and tidy, as you can see. It was his idea to put a fence here. We didn't have fences before. He likes everything in order. He's ex-military guy, and I don't think he quite really appreciates what I'm trying to do here. It's all a bit messy to him. I've kind of tried to explain to him, but I think it would be nice for him as well if this was nicely bordered off with some elder. Everyone likes elder, so actually, you know what, maybe someone's probably going to ask me what my process is for growing these elder cuttings. You may have noticed by now that I'm not heavily into processes. It's sort of like, well, you know, like I said, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. But just to show you briefly, I mean, here's an elder bush down the bottom of our garden, right in the scrub below the garden. It's not much good to me here, but I'm just going to snip some of this year's growth off, like this here. Probably something off there. This looks fairly like that's this year's growth. Yeah, probably some of that. Just gonna collect a bunch of those and snip them off and stick them in the ground. Now this because the elders now produce berries, you can see it's actually dying back. So I'm actually not super confident that I'm going to get any growth now if I plant those cuttings. But let's try a batch anyway, another batch, because I wouldn't mind having one more batch before to get in the ground before winter. So let's try. I'm not super confident, but let's get some cuttings anyway. Okay, so I had a super lazy idea. Rather than mess around with pots, I'm just going to get these elder cuttings and just shove them in the almost, if not fully finished compost you saw earlier. I know I said it might not be finished, but there's stuff starting to grow, and that's chervil, I think. And I'm thinking, yeah, should be fine. And to be honest, I'm not super confident this is going to work, like I said. So literally, I've just stuck them in there, and if they succeed, they succeed, and it'll be easy to pull them out carefully if they do take root. So literally, I've just snipped them off, typically trying to leave a node that's going to be below the ground. You saw, although theoretically elder should put out roots all along here, it does seem to favour, you know, these nodes like you saw in that cutting that I showed. And well, I'm going to put this whole one in. I'm just going to shove it in. Some of them I took several lengths off because they're quite long pieces. This one could do with losing some leaves, so we'll just this got quite a big leaf as well. We don't want too many leaves because that just sort of burdens the plant when it hasn't got roots or anything to support said leaves. Well, so I'm not going to need this compost for a few weeks, so I'm just going to leave them in here and see what happens. So if you want my method, there we go. Back soon to find out what happened.